Her proud spirit rose in arms at the threat. But when she remembered the scorn that she had heaped upon me, and now perhaps she had thus lost one whom she now regarded as her only friend, she wept with remorse and rage. At that moment I appeared. I clasped her in my arms with transport. The old lady was speechless with fury. My mother received the fair fugitive, escaped from a gilt cage to nature and liberty. With tenderness and joy, my father, who loved her, welcomed her heartily. It was a day of rejoicing which did not need the addition of the celestial potion of the alchemist. Soon after this eventful day, I became the husband of Bertha. I ceased to be the scholar of Cornelius, but I continued his friend. I always felt grateful to him for having unawares procured me that delicious draught of a divine elixir, which instead of curing me of love, sad cure, solitary and joyless remedy for evils which seem blessings to the memory, had inspired me with courage and resolution, thus winning for me an inestimable treasure in my Bertha. I often called to mind that period of trance-like inebriation with wonder. The drink of Cornelius had not fulfilled the task for which he affirmed that it had been prepared, but its effects were more potent and blissful than words can express. They faded by degrees, yet they lingered long and painted life in hues of splendor. Bertha often wondered at my lightness of heart and unaccustomed gaiety, for before I had been rather serious or even sad in my disposition. She loved me for the better for my cheerful temper, and our days were winged by joy. 5 years afterwards, I was suddenly summoned to the bedside of the dying Cornelius. He had sent for me in haste, conjuring my instant presence. I found him stretched on his pallet, enfeebled, even to death, all of life that yet remained animated in his piercing eyes, and they were fixed on a glass vessel, full of a roseate liquid. He spoke with difficulty and fell back on his pillow. I could not help saying, "How, Reverend Master, can a cure for love restore you to life?" A faint smile gleamed across his face as I listened to his scarcely intelligible answer. "The cure for love in all things, the elixir of immortality. Ah, if now I might drink, I should live forever." As he spoke, a golden flash gleamed from the liquid. A well-remembered fragrance stole over the air. He raised himself, as weak as he was. Strength seemed miraculously to re-enter his frame. He stretched forth his hand. A loud explosion startled me. A ray of fire shot up from the elixir, and the glass vessel which contained it shivered to atoms. I turned my eyes towards the philosopher. He had fallen back. His eyes were glassy, his features rigid. He was dead. But I lived, and was to live forever. So said the unfortunate alchemist. For a few days I believed his words. I remembered the glorious drunkenness that followed my stolen draught. I reflected on the change I had felt in my frame, in my soul, the bounding elasticity of one, the buoyant lightness of the other. I surveyed myself in a mirror, and could perceive no change in my features during the space of 5 years which had elapsed. I remembered the radiant hues and grateful scent of that delicious beverage worthy the gift it was capable of bestowing. I was then immortal! A few days later, after I laughed at my credulity, the old proverb that a prophet is least regarded in his own country was true with respect to me and my defunct master. I loved him as a man, I respected him as a sage, but I derided the notion that he could command the powers of darkness, and laughed at the superstitious fears with which he was regarded by the vulgar. He was a wise philosopher, but had no acquaintance with any spirits but those clad in flesh and blood. His science was simply human, and human science, I soon persuaded myself, could never conquer nature's law so far as to imprison the soul forever within its carnal habitation. Cornelius had brewed a soul-refreshing drink, more inebriating than wine, sweeter and more fragrant than any fruit. It possessed probably strong medicinal powers, imparting gladness to the heart and vigor to the limbs, but its effects would wear out.